All right, happy day number 13. Today we're going to talk about, I like the way that kind of popped up, the minimum viable audience. And there is no StreamYard logo today because they finally got me to buy. I've signed up. So maybe one of these days I'll have, because they've got really cool things. They've got like this overlay right here. Um, so hopefully I'll be able to create one of those and do all sorts of cool little stuff that I'm looking forward to the way it all changes. And so hopefully I'll be able to get some of that here soon. And so today I'm going to talk about the minimum viable audience. And for like the next week or so, I'm going to talk a little bit about business and marketing, how it pertains to referrals while you sleep, my software company, and just some things that I found that are the reason that I made it, and just some things that I've learned. And so the first is minimum viable audience. And so if you don't want to hear anything about marketing or sales or business, you can either unsubscribe, feel free to do that, or just not listen to the next week, kind of check in as I talk about that. And the minimum viable audience. I heard this from Seth Godin, who's a pretty popular author. You might have heard of him. He's actually written a blog post a day for, I don't know, maybe like 15 years. And it's usually pretty short. It's, 3 paragraphs, something like that. And then he sells information, and he's got books, and a number of his books are just normal now. One of them was Lynchpin. He wrote one called The Purple Cow. His thing is he's really, really good at marketing. And I heard him he's done a couple of keynotes that are on YouTube. And so I was listening to one, and he talked about this minimum viable audience. And what he says, it's the smallest group that could possibly sustain you in your work. And let's see if I can actually, I've got a little video there. And of course, then I lost it. Let's see if this will come up. And what I liked about it is it's another take on, if you've ever heard 1,000 True Fans. So 1,000 True Fans is something that this guy
wrote. We have to address all the external stuff. The strat.
That's the keynote. 1,000 True Fans was an article written, it was a long time ago. And someone said, hey, if you're in the music industry and you want to make it, you don't need millions and millions of fans. What you need is 1,000 true fans. If you've got 1,000 true fans that will pay you $100 a year, you can make $100,000 a year. If you've got 1,000 true fans that you can sell them enough that they'll pay you $250 a year, now you're making $250,000 a year with those 1,000 true fans. So it's another take on this minimum viable audience. I think maybe the guy's name is Ken McCarthy. That doesn't sound right. But anyway, someone wrote about raving fans. And I'm going to see if I can share this with you. The thing with the minimum viable audience, it's how a small company can compete. Oh man, this is a live demo right here that I'm really scared about because I've lost my place. Here we go. So, we're not going to be able to see this. Let's see what happens if you do this. Oh, look, that's kind of cool. So that worked. So here, Seth Godin is talking about cat food and Fancy Feast and how the client is actually the human. And I'm going to. And then here he talks about how, we've got really big companies. Amazon serves everybody in the world, Google, Facebook, they do. And how can the average person compete with them? And he said, well, you can't really. As I'm going back over here, I'm jumping back and forth. And so here, what he ends up saying is, like, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they're big guys, really generic. They're hitting this massive market. And so, they win when it comes to, they've got quantity, so they can get the prices lower. They can advertise all over the place. However, they're doing that. There's a lot of money to be made here in this long tail at the very front or the very back. That these people want to spend money, and they're not the generic. And so he says, right here, you can probably have a really good career by focusing on that. And of course, part of the magic with the minimum viable audience is that you start here, and you usually do grow. Once you make something specifically for these people, and you make a very, very specific product or service to solve for these people, you're going to be the only one in the world that they would work with, because these big guys, it doesn't make sense for them to build a solution just for them. So you literally are going to be their only choice that does this one thing. And like, I know in real estate and lending, that definitely works. In real estate, you can probably, I think the average real estate agent, I think it's something like 4 to 6 deals per year is what a average real estate agent does. And I don't think that you can really survive off of that. However, you could easily help. If you help 10 people move to a new home each year, that is a really nice business. It's 20 transactions. The average deal right now is, probably $7,500. So times 20, I don't know exactly what that is. My guess would be, what's 7.5 times 2, 15? So 150 grand by helping 10 people move to a new home each year. That means that they sell their current home, buy their next one. And like, if you focus on that one, just that little niche, and you serve this group of people better than anyone else, if you create, it doesn't have to be 1,000 true fans, it can be 10 true fans, a small little group. You can really knock their socks off and create something that someone else would never do. And another really good example of this is in the book called The Pumpkin Plan. And it's a really great book, that also goes into this kind of, all of this is the same, kind of 1,000 true fans, minimum viable audience, the Pumpkin Plan. And with the Pumpkin Plan, he actually says in the book, and so he's done this before, that he says, ask your top clients. I love this. What sucks about my industry? What would you love my industry to create for you? And so, if we ask our clients that and we get their answer, and if it's something that all of our top clients do or mention, or enough of them, well, then we can create this little long tail minimum viable audience here. And I love the quote, the riches are in the niches. And this is just a great way. I think Peter Thiel said, it's a category of one. It's just a great way to do it. And so, like with my software referrals while you sleep, the whole purpose is advertise you to your minimum viable audience. If I can type, I don't know if I can. I love that. Advertise you to your minimum viable audience with what's the smallest group that could possibly sustain you in your work. And then here's the coolest reason that I think this is great, because let's see, there's a slide here. This is going to be worth it, I think. It's not the slow clap. I can't find it. Well, I should have saved it. Because the reason is, let's just say that, when I've got a minimum viable audience, when I'm not spending 80% of my time looking for my next client, but instead I've got a small group of people that I'm working with and working for to really blow their socks off, really serve them in a way that no one else is willing to serve them. What it lets me do is it lets me be a craftsman. It lets me create work. It lets me, become an artist. I know in real estate, I've got a process that specifically helps people move from their current home to their new home in a very peaceful and profitable way that I've never heard of anyone else doing. And it's because I've just been able to focus on them. And, we've got the double down payment so that they can move easily, and they usually make more money. And I love that. I love creating a solution that no one else has, or no one else has taken the time. And, now I'm working on Referrals While You Sleep, this software, because I've talked to a few lenders and a few realtors, and I said, hey, what do you wish that, if I could wave a magic wand, what would you love to have happen? What sucks about your industry? What sucks about the marketing industry? And it's really great. I've got my clients that have helped me create the software, and I love it. I love this idea that I don't have to have 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000 people, that I can have a minimum viable audience, the smallest group that could possibly sustain me in my work, so that I can keep getting better and keep getting better and keep getting better. So that's the minimum viable audience. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I'm curious, have you heard that before? What stuck out to you? All right, bye.